Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a little bit different and I'm going to have to go into quite a bit of explanation so that you guys understand what's going on. So as you know, we moved about a year ago from a warehouse to this location, to this house, and my garage space massively reduced from obviously what I had available at the warehouse, which was about 7,000 square feet of garage, to here where I've got a two-car garage. Now I happen to have three classic Porsches. One of them is here right now, my 911 SC, and I still have two that need to be moved, which I'm about to be doing coming up here in about next month. I'll have both cars moved up here. Now to get them in here, I'm gonna have to trailer and tow them because unfortunately those two cars are not functional right now, so they don't run. So I'm gonna have to put them on trailer and I'm gonna have to use a winch to do that. So right here, I've got my brand new winch, which I bought recently. To do this, I also don't have my own trailer, so I'm going to be renting a U-Haul trailer to be able to put them onto, and to be able to use my winch with the trailer, I need to be able to mount it in some fashion to the trailer so I can haul the car up onto the trailer. This is where this whole process came down to. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not just paying a professional to do it, well, one, of course, I am a DIYer, but for each car, it was going to be about $1,200 to have a professional do it because I did look into it. So that was going to cost me $2,400 overall. So what I decided to do is I bought the winch. This is a $250 winch. And then I needed a extra special mounting bracket that came with chains. This is about $75. And then the truck and trailer, because I'm going to end up renting a U-Haul truck to be able to attach the trailer to. I don't want to put the wear and tear on my Porsche Cayenne, even though it can haul the trailer. It's kind of high in mileage, so I just don't want to put that wear and tear on the car. So that's going to be about $400 total each time I need the truck and trailer. So overall, I'm looking at around $1,200 to move both cars, rather than $2,400 to move them both if I pay a professional. But at the end of it, after my $1,200 investment, I still have a winch, which I'm going to use and mount it to another vehicle, and I'll show you that here in a minute. All right, let me go into what we have going on here. So this is a Badlands Apex 5,500 pound winch. You can pick these up at Harbor Freight. Again, this was about $250. So it can pull 5,500 pounds, hence the 5,500 on it. Now, the heaviest car I have to move is my gold one. It's the Porsche 928, and it is 3,300 pounds. The lightest one, which I'm going to start with first, is the 914, and it only weighs just under 2,000 pounds. This winch is more than capable of pulling those cars. So with the 928, I'm only going to be using about 2/3 of its pulling capacity. So I have plenty of pulling capacity available to me. I don't need anything bigger than this. So what we got here is we have the winch itself, and this is its mounting plate. And this opening is for the hawse fairlead. Your cable would go through here, and with the hawse attached, which I don't currently have on there, it prevents the cable from getting any wear and tear on it from the sharp edges. So when the hawse goes on there, it won't be able to hit these edges at all, and it will be nice and smooth, and it won't destroy your cable. I don't really need to deal with the hawse right now, but just to explain how this is going to go on. Now, normally you would mount this to your car, and then you'd be able to operate it. But in my situation, this is not gonna be able to mount to my car, obviously, because I'm renting a truck, and then it won't be able to mount to the trailer either. So to be able to get this to work with the trailer, I had to go and find a special mounting plate. This is a Warren, they call it a portable anchor plate. And so the way this works is that your mounting plate for your winch would mount to the portable anchor plate. And then these chains that come with it, there, wrap it around, secure them. And then on the other end, you would have your hook, and you would hook it to whatever you're trying to secure. So you wrap the chain around it, say like a tree, and then this would allow you to essentially attach to whatever anchor point you wanted to attach the winch to be able to pull what you're trying to pull, whether you're pulling your vehicle out of a ditch or in my case, you need to pull a vehicle up onto a trailer. Okay, now for the main issue at hand. So these 4 outer holes are used for mounting the winch to the actual plate. Now the 4 inner ones would be for mounting your plate to, say, your vehicle bumper. Now in this situation, I won't be using these, but I do need to use these. Now what I need is these holes to be able to mount to this plate. Right, now this is a Warren plate, and if I had a Warren winch, they have like 4 different ones, and these various holes on here would allow their winches to mount to this plate. Now, I don't have a Warren winch, and the reason why is that for essentially a 5,500 pound winch from them was about $800. This is $250. All right, this will do the job just fine. I am not going to be using this on a regular basis enough to rate spending $800 on a winch. So I'm going to get by with this, but I need to figure out how to attach this plate mounted to this one since none of these holes work. So what I'm going to end up having to do is I'm going to use my drill press and I'm going to drill 4 holes in this so that I can get these holes through holes in this plate to be able to get my hardware attached, to be able to secure everything together, to get my winch secured through this plate into this plate as well. And the way I'm going to go about that is I have 2 holes here in the middle that do line up, so that will allow me to center my plate on here, roughly about there, as you can see it. And that's what I want, is I really want to get the plate centered on here. I could get this hole to line up here, or vice versa. I could get this hole lined up over here, but it offsets the plate. And of course, once you start putting a load on the winch and I'm actually trying to pull, say, a 2,000-pound vehicle up onto the trailer, now my whole thing's gonna be offset. It would probably be fine, but I just really don't like the idea of having the weight shifted basically to one side, where you've got maybe 1,200 pounds of tension over here and only like 800 pounds of tension on this chain because it's offset to one side. So I want to keep it centered as best I can. This is the best way to go about it, and this is going to involve drilling 4 brand new holes in this plate. Now this is a 1/4 inch thick piece of steel here, so I do have the drill bits on hand to be able to do this. It's going to take a little bit of work, but I should be able to get it done. And then if you're concerned, if you're watching the video right now and you're concerned like, oh well, that could compromise this plate, well, this plate is rated for 12,000 pounds, and again, this plate and this winch is 5,500 pounds, and the heaviest thing I'm pulling is 3,300 pounds. So last thing before we move on to showing the holes being drilled with the drill press, I said I was going to mount this winch to a vehicle once I was done using it for my current purpose, and the vehicle I'm going to mount it to is the Porsche 911. Now you're probably wondering why the heck I would want to mount a winch to a Porsche 911. Well, there's a particular conversion for this car out there that's very popular in the Porsche world, and it's called the Safari build. So if you're wondering what that looks like, type 911 Safari into Google and go to images, and you'll see hundreds of images of what a Safari build 911 looks like. They're pretty cool in my opinion, and that's what I intend to do to this vehicle. And in the end, this winch will be able to mount inside the vehicle, and then you get a different adapter for it, and the hose adapter will be on the front right here, and your tow cable will be available, and you'll just be able to pull it out. And I shouldn't say tow cable, your winch cable will be available, and then you'll be able to pull yourself out of any situations that you get the car into.
Come on. Come on. Good girl. Yeah. Good girl. Good girl. Bugs? Go get.
Okay, we're gonna start with the drilling process now. So first I need to mark where I need to drill my holes at. So I put 2 bolts through the bottom of this. The mounting hardware for the actual mounting plate still fits here, so I'm gonna drop it on here. Now I can't use these holes because they will not line up with the winch, but they will hold this plate in place, and it's roughly centered. I have just a tiny bit of overhang here at these corners, but that won't interfere with the chain, so it's not a big deal. Now I want to mark these 4 holes right here. So I'm going to hold this on here. In fact, I'm going to add 2 nuts to it. Now a pencil mark or a pen mark isn't going to be very accurate, so I'm going to use a punch and a hammer, and I'm going to hit it right in the center, do my best to mark my hole. Okay, you can see my little dots right in there. That's from the punch. So I've dented the metal, and when we go to the drill press, my drill press has a laser that will shoot with an X, and I'll be able to line it up directly on those and then make sure that I'm drilling directly in the center of this hole. My hole should come out perfect. So I've taken the plate that I need to drill through and I've got it set here and clamped down in my drill press, and I'm going to show you what I meant as far as the laser creating an X to line up perfectly with the holes that I punched earlier. So there's my laser, you can see my X, it looks pretty good to me. It's lined up directly on that hole. So when I lower the drill bit, it's right there on the mark. So that's what I'm going to intend to do every time I drill one of these holes, is make sure my X lines up perfectly, and then when I lower that bit, it's got a little bit of a tip and it's going to land right there on the hole. So if you're going to be drilling metal, especially metal that's thick like this is 1/4 inch, you're going to want to use some oil on the area that you're working with to help reduce the friction, which will then reduce the heat, which will help save your drill bit from being destroyed as fast. I also have this is a metal drill bit, so this is specifically metal. This isn't meant for anything else. So I'm going to be starting with this one. It's not quite big enough, but it will drill most of the hole, and then I'll come back in, widen it up with a larger size drill bit. Since that one is not straight up dedicated for metal, I'm going to do most of the work with this one to begin with. Okay, so I just finished drilling all 4 of my holes, but again, that first bit was a little bit smaller than what I needed, but it was a dedicated metal bit. Now this one is just kind of like a universal bit. It can do metal, but doesn't specialize in it, so I didn't want to use this. This is the correct one for the hole size I need, but I didn't want to put all that wear and tear on this bit and try to drill through 1/4 inch of steel with a bit that wasn't fully dedicated for metal. So I'm going to use it just to finish off. I don't have very much to do, literally like one size away from what I needed to be. So should be relatively quick, but it's probably going to completely destroy this bit by the end. Okay, so I finished drilling the holes and I brought it in here with the mounting bracket, put the screws through it, and it fits perfectly. So I am good to go. Okay, I'm going to start the assembly process. So I'm going to start by attaching the hose fair lead to the mounting bracket. Okay, next I'm going to free the synthetic rope so I can feed it through the hose fair lead. Okay, next I'm going to attach the portable anchor plate to my mounting plate for my winch, and I think these holes came out really good. I feel like if you're looking at this for the first time, you wouldn't even know that these were drilled after the fact and it didn't come from the company like this. Alright, so the winch worked. We've got the car up here in the garage now. Now, if you notice in the video, I had the winch sitting on a couple pieces of wood. That was there not for structural support. It was literally just to lift the winch up a couple of inches so that the cable would not hit the top edge of the trailer, which was about 6 inches tall or so. We wanted a clear path so there wouldn't be any rub and wear on that on the cable itself. So the winch doesn't have to be fixed down or mounted to any point once it's active. It just needs an anchor point that's strong enough to be able to take the load of what you're trying to pull up. And so it can actually free float at that point. So if you mounted it to a tree and it came off of the ground while trying to pull your car up out of like a ditch while mounted to a tree, that would be fine because it's capable of doing it with that type of mounting system. So overall, I was really happy with the winch and the system that we ended up creating. It worked for our needs. It got the car up on the trailer without any issue. We stopped several times during the process just to ensure that the car was being pulled up straight, because it is a rather small wheelbase, so we needed to make sure that it wasn't going to fall off on the sides. But it would have pulled it all up in one go, so that wasn't our stops, it was just for safety, not for the sake of the winch. Overall though, I still have one more test for it, which is I have to pull another car possibly up on the trailer, which is my Porsche 928. It's about 3,300 pounds, so it's going to test the capacity a bit more, but based off what we saw pulling the 914 up, it should do it without any issue. So if you guys like this video, then please click that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, leave some comments down below, and we'll see you next time on the DIY Grind.